Owned this farm for about 6.5 years now. I grew up on a sugarcane farm. My father thinks it's a bit of a diverse way of doing growing cane these days. He doesn't agree with many things, but he does agree with a few different things as well. So, yeah. 75 acres under cane, and yeah, it's a bit of a challenge because I'm not a full-time cane farmer, but yeah, we have in place a few different things that make it a bit easier for us. We run underground trickle for our irrigation, which saves a bit of time. Since the 2011 floods, through the Aussie Helper program, they were kind enough to give us a trial of 1,000 litres, and basically since I got my hands on it I haven't stopped. It probably wasn't something I would have gone out and bought. I definitely was looking for different ways of doing things, but it was something that maybe if I've come across, I don't know whether I would have or wouldn't have, but the fact that we got a free trial, yeah, once as I said, once I got my hands on it I wasn't going to stop using it because I can see the benefits in it straight up. Just with fertilising and things like that, just the cost of fertiliser is one of the biggest issues. Our conventional fertilisers and just putting it on is time consuming, and it's also bloody expensive. Yeah, so this makes it a bit easier. You can use your conventional spray rigs that you use for just normal weed control and that. You can use that to put this on. There's lots of different options as well, and it's a lot faster, doing like 5-8 rows at a time instead of doing 2 rows at a time with a conventional fertiliser box. I use just a normal broadacre boom, plus I do have the advantage because we've got underground trickle. I do pump it through my trickle, but mainly I put it on with the boom spray. I have actually adapted my high-rise spray tractor on one crop we had there that was a bit water damaged. I couldn't get any fertiliser onto it until it was too high, and that's when I ended up getting this trial box. So we put that on with the high-rise spray tractor, and we got a good result just from that as well. I generally use about 30 litres a hectare, and that's straight over bare ground, just with the trash after they harvest if I'm ploughing out, or you basically use the same rate when spraying over a return cane. All I do is on my spray boom I take out the interspace jet, so I'm only really spraying the returns, and yeah, so through the foliar seem to get really good results. I cut back on my my conventional fertiliser rate. I'm still trialling, I'm still learning the do's and the don'ts on everything, but I'm certainly putting less of my conventional fertiliser on. I was putting up 650-700 kilos a hectare. I'm down to 500 kilos a hectare now, which is a fair change in itself. We also plant with Dr. Grow All, and I've changed my rates of everything else we put in at the same time in our spray dip, and but the results really prove to me that yeah, it's a definite good option to go to instead of just your normal conventional fertilisers, and definitely a fair bit cheaper as well. When I plough in the trash, we find that I used to use some urea because I don't burn off my trash, so we used to dress with urea to help the breakdown of the trash. I just go over with 30 litres a hectare of Dr. Grow It All, and within 3 or 4 days, if you were to put your hand in that soil, it would nearly strip your skin off. It's that hot from the reaction with the trash in there and the Dr. Grow It All. Since I've been using this product, last year our CCS didn't drop below 12.9, which is pretty good, and that was only about 80-100 tonne. So everything was above 13 CCS, which was really impressive realistically, because we haven't averaged above that ever before. So just in that itself is something. I mean, I currently use Dr. Grow on every bit of the farm now, so we kind of scaled it into a point. This block behind me is only eight months old. It's a first retune, and it was the first block we actually planted with it in our spray dip, and certainly just the speed that it germinates and how high it gets in a short amount of time is proof in itself. I got some March plant. I only got 8 rows of March plant because that's all we could get in this year because of all the rain and all that. But it's only 8 weeks old, whereas there's some cane down the road there by Bundy Sugar. They planted it 2 weeks earlier, and my cane's a good 6 inches taller, and I'm rather impressed with that. When I took over this farm, I think the farm had been rather neglected in a sense, and I started experimenting with a few different ways, because there's lots of different ways you can do things. Some of them are a bit not so environmentally friendly to a point. We started experimenting with a lot of different ways, and Dr. Grow really fits into bringing our soil health up, because you can see the proof in the heat and the smell and just the change in colour of the soil. But when you get plants, and you can plant anything in the soil now and it kind of jumps out of the ground, you know that you've got a healthy soil. You can make soil to grow things 2 different ways. You can just fire on a whole heap of fertilisers and chemicals and that to make things grow, and it'll grow, but in the end you've got nothing. If you've got a soil that is healthy on its own, it's a lot easier to manage and maintain a lot of different ways. And in this day and age, chemicals are going up, whereas your natural way of doing things is a lot easier. And I mean, even going straight back to the simple basic things, where my next door neighbour still burns cane. He cuts burnt cane, whereas we don't burn our cane, we don't burn our tops or anything. We put it all back into the ground, and that was pretty much a no-brainer for me, considering that if you look at a blue flame in a fire, that's potassium burning. We put potassium on as one of the building blocks of growing cane. Why burn it off in the end when you can just put it back into the soil? But it's one thing putting it back into the soil, it's another thing having it available for the plants to utilise. And that's one big difference, is if you don't have all the organisms in there, microorganisms that to release these fertilisers into the plant, well, they're no good to you. So it's one thing to put the fertiliser on, basically. It's another thing to actually the plants being able to use it. The way the Dr. Grow is, it's just quite an interesting product. I mean, Danny did say at one stage right early in the piece you could almost drink it. It wouldn't make you feel too good, but you could almost drink it, and possibly you almost can. It's got a lot of different things in there, a lot of active microorganisms that will that basically assist in the whole breakdown of everything and the uptake into your plant crop. So looking at all the different products on the market, there's a lot of products on the market which are just your microorganisms in themselves, whereas Dr. Grow is your microorganisms plus it's a fertiliser at the same time. So you're kind of getting a double hit for the one thing. Basically, when this is still one of my experiments I've been trying to do, when we rotary, finish with a crop, I basically rotary out. So we use a Dr. Grow, rotary the trash in. I normally get some filter press put over the top. Then I plant Kaluna pea and sorghum, let that come off, and I rotary all that straight in as a green crop. And then I rotary once more, and then plant straight into it. So I've got all the organic matter there, and a lot of people said to me that probably wasn't such a good idea because it's going to choke up your planter and things like that. I don't have a problem with any large clumps of matter left. When I rotary, I don't rotary slow. I don't basically lay everything straight underneath the ground, so I'm not really chopping it up too much. I rely on the breaking down to be done by whatever I put on there, and when I'm using Dr. Grow and it breaks it down perfectly well to a point where I can just plant straight through it, and the soil health is just 100%. Yeah, well, you don't need anything special to use it basically. Everyone has a broadacre boom on their property. Everyone has most cane farmers would have some form of inter-row spraying. Most cane farmers would definitely have an Irvine spray boom or something like that. Those three ways of applying it is not a drama. Probably more so your broadacre boom is the best. And it's just dead easy, and you cover a lot of ground, and it's a lot faster than just your normal fertiliser application. Yes, I run that through the trickle. Not very often. I just decide whether I need to use it. My main form of putting it on is definitely just foliar, and I do believe I get the best results from foliar application. I do get good results from putting it on the trickle, but for me that's a little bit more in time involved, so I take the easiest option out, which is the foliar spray, and it works really well. I used to clean out my trickle, I use copper sulphate, and I also used to use chlorine. For 2 years now I haven't used anything in my trickle. I just run a bit of Dr. Groldal through there, and that's cleaned it out, and it strips out roots, it cleans out all the algae, and it does, and it fertilises your cane at the same time. So it's and my trickle's probably running a fair bit better than it was before. And if you think about it, when you use a chemical like chlorine into a healthy soil, chlorine's going to start killing your antibodies and your microorganisms and that really quickly. So it's not really the best thing to pump through there anyway. Main benefits we've had is basically just it's a lot easier to use. It saves time. We get some awesome results, some really unexpected results. When I started using it, different things that I wasn't told about, I just tried, and it come off. And my father was rather sceptical about, and even to the point I said to him when I was going to spray this on, instead of putting urea on the trash, he said, "Oh, it won't work." And now he's the first bloke to jump on the tractor and get it on there as soon as it's ready to, because just the different results we're getting. It's just great. Cost of fertilisers, cost of chemicals and everything like that, if we can cut down, like even if you can cut down a few $100s here and there, it's at the moment it's the bottom line is very, very close. So whatever you can save, and whatever you can save in time and money, is going to be a great help in the future. Well, the old mindset used to be NPK, and that was what my father used to focus on. But the new mindset is microbial balancing technology, which in a sense basically is overcoming, just focusing on the small section of major elements and getting in there to the whole big picture of a whole heap of your trace elements and microorganisms and that, which are all necessary, and basically not just focusing on three main elements only. These days a lot of people aren't really focused on too many issues except for growing a crop, but there is a start of a mind shift, and as it goes on, something like this product is going to be really important in the whole change of not just growing crop, but actually getting your soil healthy to make sure that you've got a sustainable industry. I definitely would recommend it to anyone, and if anyone's sceptical, I mean, they're quite happy. Like, if anyone wants to have a yarn with me or anyone else, talk to Danny's team. They've got plenty of testimonials. I'm quite happy to explain to anyone about what we found and the way we do it. I'm still learning on everything, but I'd certainly recommend this product to anybody. And anyone I know who's using this product has got the same view as me. If it had come out 10 years ago, everyone would be using it now. So. And it's from what I'm hearing, it's been taken up in a lot of other countries, but it's one of our products in Australia, so we need to really grasp it here as well, because Australian products are very hard to come by, and something like this is something that all Australians should be really proud of. As long as Dr. Groldal's around, we'll keep using it. It's definitely something we'll be using for many, many years to come. I hope Danny and his team stay around, because it's definitely something we will be using in many, many years.